Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today we are going to talk about what you are believing about yourself. What you're believing about yourself is so important, and you can obviously see why that would be. But what you are actually believing might be shocking to you when you stop and think about it. And we're going to challenge that and talk about what you should be believing about yourself and what we know to be true. I want this message to be uplifting, to encourage you today. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of 2 girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, so it's January, and I said we were going to focus on our mindset and just the things that you can do to solidify kind of the foundation for your year. This is so important in every season of our lives, but especially as mamas, especially with young children, especially when we are supposed to be raising these people that we want to grow up and be strong, independent humans who have all the, characteristics that you want them to, right? And when we are in this place of motherhood where we might feel a little less than, a little, not good enough, a little discouraged, a little overworked and underappreciated, overwhelmed, stressed out, when we might not feel at our best, how can we be our best for our children and be teaching them how we want them to behave, modeling behavior that we want them to have when we don't feel like we are at our best? And it's a really hard place to be able to parent from, right? But the reality of it is that number one, you're not alone. You are not alone. There are so many moms. In fact, I would say most, if not all moms who go through these periods where they feel not good enough. They feel like they're not being a good enough mom. And this is just not true, but it's also something where I think that we let comparison, we let a lot of things in the outside world, outside of the 4 walls of our house, determine how we feel and what we are believing about ourselves. And so what can we do about this, right? We can solidify in what we know to be true. So I want to start out with a quote from Roy T. Bennett that says, "Believe in your infinite potential. Your only limitations are those you set upon yourself." Our only limitations are those we set upon ourselves. I believe that to be true. I believe that you set these limitations for yourself based on what you see, what you hear, what you're being fed, what you're watching on TV, what's in your social media feed, what you are seeing maybe as someone else's, highlight reel that they're showing you on social media, or what you're seeing of someone else who you may see out and about, right? But this is their best foot forward, right? Your best foot forward may not seem nearly as good as their best foot forward to you, right? But that is because it's what you're believing, right? You are believing that that person is always like that. When you see them and they are on, or they are, always smiley and happy and whatever, that is their best foot forward, right? That might be a show. It might not be. They might truly be that way. They might be super happy and, and doing all of the things really well right now. You don't know that to be true. However, when we see that, we can start to judge ourselves when we don't feel like we are that, or we're believing that, or we're believing a different story. We can feel so isolated and start feeling so alone. We can feel like not a good enough mom, like we can't do anything right. These are all things that we can tell ourselves that just aren't true. They just aren't true. And when we believe in our potential, our infinite potential. Our God gave us infinite potential. He has placed gifts on you that are uniquely yours, and He is the one who gets to say who we are, right? And so when we let, outside circumstances determine what we are believing about ourselves, it can get really dangerous. And so we need to believe in those infinite possibilities, even when we don't feel like we can do everything that we want to do in a given day, in that given day. We have to know that we are in this season, right? This is a season that we can do everything that our hearts desire, and we are not less than because we can't do it today. Right? We aren't less than because we can't get through our to-do list today. We aren't less than because we didn't get that cleaned today. We aren't less than because our child melted down in the middle of the grocery store today, right? We are not bad moms. We are not unworthy. We are not doing all the things wrong, right? A lot of times we feel like we are, and that's just not the truth. And so what you tell yourself is so important. And I just wanted to share with you some things that really help me. And I can cite these Bible verses in the show notes so that you know where I get these things like originally. But I want you to know who you are based on who God says that you are, right? First of all, you are a child of God. You were made in God's image. God knit you together in your mother's womb for specific purposes. You were made intentionally. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You were gifted certain gifts that are unique to you. You are worthy. You are loved. You are forgiven. You are free. You're blessed. You're a child of God. God says you're a new creation in Christ Jesus, right? With God, all things are possible. If you've listened to the podcast for any time at all, you have probably heard me say that with God's all things are possible, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? This is a verse that I clung to when I had two kiddos and I was in a really deep and dark place. I really clung to this verse, Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I want you to know that with God, all things are possible and that you can get through this season and you will get through this season and you are not alone. Despite what you may feel like, you really are not alone. Not only because I am telling you that there are many other moms who have gone through exactly what you are going through right now, but because you are not alone. You have God. God is in your reach. You can turn to Him. You can look to Him at any given moment, and He will be there for you. And I promise you, when I used to go to the mirror and I used to say that, I would not believe it. And I would sit there and say it until I believed it, until I literally could feel Christ giving me strength, right? I would feel that. And so sometimes you are in such a place where you do need help, right? Like you need someone's help. Now, I was able to get through all of that with just God as my helper, right? And sometimes you might need someone else's help. You might actually need to tell someone else some of the things that you are feeling. But I just want you to know that you do not need to keep believing these lies that I believe that you might be telling yourself, right? Because I know I was telling myself these lies a lot. And I want to read one more quote here from Roy T. Bennett. And he says, believe in yourself, your abilities, and your own potential. Never let self-doubt hold you captive. You are worthy of all that you dream of and all that you hope for. You are worthy of all that you dream of and all that you hope for. I know that you are worthy of that. And I believe that God has gifted you not only these gifts, but He's also placed certain desires on your heart that are from Him, that you can fulfill, that you have all this potential, right? Like a lot of times, I don't love the word potential because it feels like, well, that means I'm not living up to it. Like if someone says you have potential or whatever it might be, it means you're not like living up to that potential, right? So it's like, oh, you have all this potential, but you're not actually there yet, right? But also, there's a flip way of looking at that. You have all this potential that you are not stuck where you are, right? That you have this potential, you know what is within you. If you really stop to think about it and you pray about it and you think about all of these things that God says about you that you deep down know to be true, you have so much potential to be that mom that you want to be. If you are yearning to be that mom, then you are that mom. You will be that mom. You will be living up to that mom that you want to be, even when you make mistakes. Not saying you're ever going to be perfect. I know I am far from perfect, but you will be that mom. And the best part is that you don't have to wait to be that mom. You can decide and you can believe that you are that mom today, right? You can start tapping into that potential that you know is there, that your abilities are far greater than you think that they are, right? They are far greater. You just need to believe in yourself. And you are capable of far more than you think that you are capable for. You are strong and you can have those things that you want to have in your life. You can have them and you may not be able to have them tomorrow, right? Or even next week or next month, but possibly next year. Right? And you can start working towards them today. This is exactly what I do in my coaching is I help you along the way. And that's what we're doing this month is we're kind of building the foundation. And I'm trying to build not only your mindset, but also these habits in you that are going to create this solid foundation that you need to get to where you want to go. I'm going to end with one last quote here from Oprah Winfrey that says, create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe. Create the highest, grandest vision possible for your life because you become what you believe. We are going to talk about goals, but I think I'm going to push it off a week, right? So I was going to talk about that next week. I think next week, what we'll actually talk about is maybe affirmations and how to create affirmations and what those look like, because I think that what we are believing about ourselves is sometimes getting in the way of those goals, right? We are getting in our own way with our beliefs. And these affirmations that, maybe love them, you maybe hate them, you maybe think they're woo-woo and think that they don't work, but I am here to tell you that they really work, that they were a very key piece in getting me out of the funk I was in, out of the depression I was in, and where I wanted to go. And when you can tell yourself these things on a daily basis that are positive and you're reaffirming that in yourself every day, it is so, so powerful. And so I think that's what we're going to do on Tuesday of next week. We will talk about affirmations, how to set them, what they look like. And I hope you found this to be uplifting, right? I want to encourage you. I don't want to shame you if you are stuck in these negative beliefs about yourself. I want to tell you that it's normal, that you aren't alone, and that also you do not have to stay there, right? And so these affirmations will be the great next piece to work on. We'll do that next week. And until then, I hope you'll go and read some of these Bible verses. Sign up for a prioritization clarity call with me. I would love to help you with any of this stuff. You can do that at prioritizewithpurpose.com, prioritizewithpurpose.com/coaching will take you right to the coaching page where you can sign up for a call with me. Okay. And so I will meet you right back here next week. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.